love the Ayton pick. It seems like he's playing a lot better. I do think he is kind of an X factor. If he's the guy who says they brought me in to be Clint Capella, and clearly, how do I say, clearly pouting about his role, then obviously that's going to hurt. But if he's 2021 Ayton, like, I do wonder what is stopping this team from making some real noise in the Western Conference. So if he can continue putting it together, continue to build off of this, like, I think the Lakers, they might be more legit than we thought, but we can't discount their struggles before they went on this hot streak.
And I agree with you on DeAndre Ayton. He said recently after the game, he had an inner look at himself. He looked in the mirror and said, I think that where he wanted to be, or where he thought he was, because he's always thought of himself as the number one draft pick. He always thought of himself as the next Shaq, the next dominating center in the league. He's always thought of himself in that context. And he was about a month ago when he, after a game where he thought, okay, I'm not Clint Capella. Unfortunately at this point in his career, or who he is, he has to become a Clint Capella, where he's playing a supporting role, but providing a lot of the things that the Lakers need: rebounding, rim protection, et cetera, and being available for those lobs inside. That's who he has to be. That's who he has to be for this team. And I think that conversation with himself, although scary as it may be, still, it's just what he needed to do to come to grips, for lack of a better term, come to Jesus moment for him, where he has to understand that's exactly who he is at this point. If he wants to stay in the league, he was not going to be that superstar, NBA first team all league center that people thought he would be when he was drafted number one. He is a supporting role character right now, and that's probably what he's going to be for the rest of his career.
Yeah, and more, I think his story with the Lakers kind of shows that basketball isn't played in a vacuum. Like, you bring in someone who has put up numbers, but it's been a while since he's last proven himself to be an effective basketball player. Asking him to be not necessarily Clint Capella, but more of a supplementary player on a team that's, like, regardless of what their odds are, clearly trying to win a title with Luka and LeBron and Reeves. Like, it isn't that easy to just adjust to that role. Like we've seen success stories in the past, and that makes fans misunderstand. Oh, it'll be that easy to take a lesser role. And I was like, no, it's not. These guys are so used to being the creme de la creme, the top of the pecking order, or around the top.
Ego. It's a lot about ego, right?
Like, Ayton was that in Phoenix. And it's also funny because it's not like he's old or anything. He's still relatively young. So, I mean, asking him to take that kind of role, that is not very easy to do, and especially in a prove-it year. But, like, that's the one thing, is that this is his chance to kind of redeem his value, and it's kind of been up and down, and right now it's up. So if he, I think if he continues to put this together, continues to build off of his most recent stretch, I do think that that could be enough to convince a team. Yeah, if we want to win something, we want DeAndre Ayton on our team. So it's not easy, but when it works, it's spectacular. So I think Ayton hasn't necessarily been spectacular, but he's on the up and up, and I think that's huge for the Lakers.
We don't need him as spectacular on the Lakers. We just need him solid. We need to count on him for 4 quarters. Now, some of those games that he's shown up at, he doesn't show up till the 4th quarter, or in the case of Denver, he didn't show up until overtime. But, games like last night in Miami, he was okay. He was solid. Houston, that second game in Houston, he was solid throughout the 4 quarters. That first game in Houston, he was out Clint Capella by Clint Capella until the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, where he decided to make some really key plays. Again, we just need a solid effort for 4 quarters, and that's what we need. And especially, he is, with all apologies to Jackson Hayes, who has been up until past week, really a great thing for the Lakers as far as coming off the bench. His improved play has been a great thing as far as one of the few bright spots for this bench, the NBA, for the Lakers bench. And it's been nice, but he is not going to be able to be the guy that's going to stop a Victor Wembanyama or a Chet Holmgren in a series. It has to be a DeAndre Ayton. It's just is what it is. I mean, Hayes will give you hopefully some good minutes when it counts, but for the bulk of those minutes, it has to be DeAndre Ayton stepping up and playing at a solid level. I'm not asking to match number by numbers with Holmgren or Wembanyama or Jokic, but just to defend Jokic like he did in that overtime on Saturday, and to do that same, have that same kind of effort against Wembanyama and Holmgren in the playoffs as well.
And I think you're harping on something that needs to be said. He is an X factor. Like the Lakers, I'm going to say it. They were embarrassed last year, and it was because
yeah, you could say it.
They went up against a Timberwolves team that knew how to exploit their one hole, their front court. It was weak. Like they were depending on Dorian Finney-Smith for back of five. And granted, I really wish that he had stayed with the Lakers. I think he would have been very useful. Like Ayton really will be. He will be like, I think, the difference between, if all goes right, he can be the difference between the Lakers getting embarrassed in the first round and going all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I won't go as far as say the NBA Finals, but the Lakers are putting it together at the right time, so I won't rule that out either. But I do think Ayton is the X factor for what happens with the Lakers in the playoffs.